All right. Hello, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. This is DFS Army's pre-lock show where we are here to show you the domination station, talk through some of the changes that we're making on the slate, and also just go game by game, talk through some low-owned guys we like and some of the chalk that we like, and then also some chalk that we're a little nervous about as well. So it's going to be a good one. I didn't play last night's slate. I think it was a little rough for some people, but I also saw quite a few screenshots in the chat too. So seems like it was pretty good. But for me, Monday was good. Wednesday was good. Didn't play yesterday, so hopefully we can keep that trend going. But I feel okay about the slate. How are you feeling, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, there's some ugly games on this slate, but overall, I'm feeling pretty confident in my approach.
Okay, I like it. You're feeling more confident than I am, so might lean on you a little bit more than normal. Rodney, good to see you, fam. Glad you're able to make it. Hope everyone's doing well. Good Friday. Weather's nice, at least where I am. Hopefully it is for y'all too. Let's jump into the games. We have the Cavs going up against the Pistons first. Second highest total game on the slate. And out of the high total games, this at least has a decent spread too, which is nice. So we have the Cavs going up against the Pistons. From an injury perspective, there's not really too much that moved the needle for me. Max Strus is out. Ty Jerome is out. Brandon, are you looking at anybody here? And he's also, Brandon's sharing his screen today. So there.
Yeah, a few people. I'd say out of their starters, I put a 5% man on Mobley and Allen. I'm kind of more focused on value at the guard position. So Mobley and Allen are just kind of some low on guys I wanted to throw in the mix. Um, Definitely don't mind Mitchell or Garland if you wanted to take a shot, especially with no Cade. But like I said, more of my priority is with the value guard. So wanted to throw them in the mix. And then I did put a 5% min on Hunter, and then I was a little aggressive on Sam Merrill with a 10% min, but they're missing Struce and someone else. Who was it? Let me look.
Strus and Jerome.
Ty Jerome. And these guys have been getting quite a bit good chunk of minutes. So Merrill, he's had like 4 games straight over 20 DraftKings points, and DeAndre Hunter. He hasn't been as consistent, but he's been playing close to 30 minutes. So just wanted to throw those two in the mix as low on value plays.
Yeah, I get it. I understand it. I like you. I like the Cavs tonight too. I have a 4% min on Donovan Mitchell. Again, if this game stays close, he has a kind of upside to get there in a spot that's not as tough defensively as it looks on paper. Evan Mobley's my leverage play from this team. I have an 8% min on him, so I'm going to be double the field there. The matchup, again, isn't the best, but I like the spot for him a bit more than Jared Allen. I have a 5% min on Jared Allen. Some model liked him a little bit. He was great last time out, but that was without Mobley. So I'm not as excited about him, but I still want to have a little bit of exposure here. And then I have a 3% min on DeAndre Hunter. I think that was a good call. I can't get quite on board with you for the full 5%, but I like having a little bit of exposure. And then Merle, if that comes through, that's a hell of a hit, man. But I can't do it. I can't get there with you. But that's pretty much it for me with the Cavs. On the Pistons side of things, this is where it gets interesting for me. We have Cade Cunningham out. We have Jaden Ivey out. He's been out for a while. Jalen Duren is actually the guy who sees the highest increase in usage with Cade and Ivey out. And the matchup's not great. Not great going up against the Cavs bigs. But it's like I said, good game environment, high total. I do like him in this spot, so that's why I made him a leverage play. Tobias Harris is going to be my pre-lock show leverage play. I like the Pistons here. I have a 10% min on him. He sees a nice increase in usage without Ivy and Cade. Again, if this game stays close, I really feel like it has to be Duren or Harris who are doing that because the other guys here are a little bit more volatile. And then I have a like on Dennis Schroeder. He's showing up in a lot of my lines. I know it's hard to trust him. He is showing up in about 67% of my lines right now. And then I have a like on Marcus Sasser, and he's showing up in about 32% of my lines right now. So a little bit of leverage there, but nothing too crazy for me. I feel like you have a bit of a different strat here, Brandon. Who are you looking at?
Yeah, so as you can see, I bumped Sasser's projection up just by a couple points and wanted to make him a core play. He's just been really consistent lately, and I don't trust Schroeder, which is why I capped him at 40. I didn't really want him to be a core play. He's been kind of letting us down lately, so he definitely could bounce back with Cade still out, but we have so many other guards that's cheaper than him that I just kind of want to put more of a priority on.
Mm-hmm.
I did force in some Stewart. He is another low on value play that I always like taking shots on. Sees around 20 minutes and another guy who can get you over 20 DraftKings points. So at this ownership, he can definitely win you some GPP contests. I do like Azar Thompson. Didn't have to do anything with him. Yeah, I'm way over the field at 39%.
Yeah.
And then I only had a 5%, but I might join you and put a 10% on Tobias. He's just been really solid lately, and definitely don't mind taking a shot on him whenever Cade is out, especially at the 6K price tag where he can definitely pay it off. And then can't get down with Duran tonight either. I just hate the matchup with Mobley and Allen down low.
And the thing I like about the Stewart call is if Duran gets into foul trouble, which is very likely, Isaiah Stewart has a little bit of a safer minutes floor. So I'm going to follow you. Well, not follow you exactly, but I'm going to put a 5% min on Stewart. I think that's a really solid play. And then I'm also going to put a 60% cap on Dennis Schroeder. Like you said, there's a little bit of risk there. Ideally, he won't be a core play for me. And if he is, it's going to be right at that 60% number. So I think that's a solid read there. But good game environment. We're looking to play players from that game. Next up, this is where games get a little gross. We have the Clippers going up against the Nets. The Clippers are old reliable at this point. They've been steady Eddie. No real injury news here to speak of. Matchup's not the best against the Nets, but we know they're not a great rebounding team, and defensively, they haven't been that great over the last few games. Anyone stand out for you here?
Not really. I did force in Harden and Kawhi, but that was just for the simple fact we have so much value. So just wanted to mix in some studs outside of Giannis and Jokic. So that was about it. I'm as far as Zubac, I'm just waiting for his price to drop a bit lower because he, even though he's had a hot start earlier this season, he's kind of died off. He's been solid, but just not showing much upside at that price.
Mm-hmm. For me, I like the Clippers tonight. James Harden is a leverage play for me tonight. I have a 20% min on him. It's kind of like what you mentioned, Brandon. It's just out of all the pay up options, he's the lowest owned who still has really consistent upside. And he's been steady this entire season, having 50, 60 point performances at his price tag. Even him hitting 50 tonight would give us a solid chance of taking something down. But of course, we'd love to see 60 here. Bit of a revenge narrative, too, if you're into that. Kawhi, I have a 6% min on, just trying to match the field there. Need some exposure to him. If he goes off tonight, potential double-double spot with the rebounding I mentioned. And then Zubac, I have a 10% min on. I've liked his recent performance. I think he offers a little bit of upside, some 50-point performances. And again, against a not great rebounding team, I like him here. So I have a 10% min. Nothing crazy, but again, just want to make sure I'm matching the field there. And that's it. I can't really look at any of these other Clippers too much. This is the lowest total game on the slate, widespread. Not a situation you want to go too crazy on, so don't get too excited with these players. The other side of this game is gross for me. Brooklyn, did we get the Zaire news? I feel like Zaire's available to play. Noah Clowney is out. Trendon Watford's going to play tonight. He was questionable. And then guys like Sharp, Cam Thomas, and Melton are going to continue to be out. Are you looking at any of these guys tonight, Brandon?
Yeah, this team is probably a fade for me. I just don't see a reason to go here. And I don't think the DS is giving me any either. Nope.
Yeah. The only player I could get behind is like Nick Claxton with Clowney out, but I don't love the matchup and I don't like the game environment enough to force exposure there. Because, like you said, none of these guys are showing up for me by themselves. The Hornets against the Raptors, two really bad teams going up against each other. We know this can play out in a lot of ways, but starting out for the Hornets, we have LaMelo Ball out for the season. It's about that time. It's okay. No other injury news that really moves the needle too much, but I think we're playing the Hornets tonight, right? Or who are you forcing exposure to or seeing show up in your lines?
The obvious is KJ Simpson, of course, with LaMelo out. Expecting him to start again, and he should play a ton, and he gets a great matchup, so he will be a core play for me. I did put him in on Salon just to make sure I have some exposure to him, but he's showing up a bit more than 10%. So I have him at 21%. Just another cheap guy, almost min price, and should play a ton of minutes in a soft matchup. I was considering Bridges, which I haven't ruled out, but we've seen his upside when LaMelo's out, and again, the Raptors are just horrible everywhere. So wouldn't be surprised if Bridges pops off tonight. I might I just got him put a 10% min on him, and then never hate a shot on Mark Williams, but I just like some other spots a bit more. I'm not getting there, but I definitely understand, especially at 1% ownership.
Yeah, I get it. And we're on a lot of the same guys, or at least thinking about a lot of the same guys. I have a 10% min on Miles Bridges for the exact same reasons you mentioned. Mark Williams, I put a 3% min on him. Technically a leverage play, but really I'm just forcing exposure to a guy who has upside in a soft matchup. He's very inconsistent. That's why he's low owned. He's a little overpriced, especially in a game that is just has a really gross environment. But without LaMelo, he should be a bit more involved in this offense. And so these are players I just want to force exposure to on a 7-game slate. If it was a 10-gamer, I wouldn't be looking twice at it. But 7-gamer, I'm going to take some shots here. KJ Simpson's a core play for me tonight. And then Salon, he's a rookie I've liked, and especially in a soft matchup where he should see a few more minutes tonight, I like being over the field on him. I have a like on him in the DS. He's showing up in about 25% of my lines currently, so that's a little bit of decent leverage there. Of course, that can change depending on some of the injury news we get later. But I like the Hornets tonight. I think I'm going to be over the field on most of them. Then on the other side of the game, we have the Raptors, who also have a pretty soft matchup. These guys aren't going to pop for you as much. From an injury perspective, we have RJ Barrett out, Abaji, Boucher, Ingram, all these guys who've been out for a while. Quickly has been in pretty solid form. The matchup against the Hornets doesn't really concern me. I have a 9% min on him, really just trying to get some exposure. The guard spot is super valuable today. We do have a lot of solid value at that position. But me putting a 9% min on him automatically kind of makes my lines a little bit different. And in a soft matchup, he's only 6,700. He's shown plenty of upside over the last few games. I'm not overly concerned about that. Jakob Poeltl, I went back and forth on. I don't think I trust him. The minutes are just everywhere. And even in that last game, he was just incredibly efficient. He didn't really see an increase in minutes. And so I don't think he can do that twice. Even though he projects well, I just can't go there. Orlando Robinson's also a bit interesting, but Mogbo's really the only guy I forced exposure to in that center group. And so I put a 5% min on him and a like, and he's showing up right around that 5% number. And then Jacoby Walter, I put a 15% min on. He's just 3,900, decent points per minute player, seeing relatively consistent minutes now at this point. And in the soft matchup, I just want to be at least around field weight exposure there. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing with the Raptors. What are you doing, Brandon?
Yeah, I think we're pretty much in the same boat. I force him quickly in as well. When he does play, he's just really solid, and I love the spot for him. He's somebody that I'm just going to continue to play, especially when he's staying around this 6K range. I was back and forth on Podol as well, but like you said, he was just very efficient last game. Not saying it can't happen again tonight, but I'd rather not take that risk. And then we called out Walter and Mogbo last time they played, and they were solid again. So I'm forcing them right back in, and Sim Model loved them. So playing them again, and that's about it for me.
David said, sauce it up with Sasser. I see you, man. I see you. I think we're right there with you. Mr. Five, what's up, man? It's been a bit. Russell Westbrook lock. Maybe if Jamal Murray gets rolled out, then for sure. But at this point, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. Rodney said, is this a 2-stud night? What do you think, Brandon? I think it probably is. There's enough value where...
It's definitely a 2-stud night.
Yeah, there's quite a few studs that aren't even that pricey too. So, yeah, I like it. Cool. Next up, we have the third highest total game on the slate with a 15.5-point spread. Great matchup for the Warriors here, but they're all pretty healthy at this point. So it's kind of hard to really get excited about these guys. Curry's questionable, so, that could definitely change things pretty dramatically. But assuming he plays, which is the way we kind of have to go about it now, can late swap later. Are any of these guys standing out for you?
Yeah or no, but I mean, I love the matchup. Anybody who goes against the Pelicans, I always want to play them, but surprisingly, no one was really sticking out here. I was really on the fence about Kuminga, but his minutes haven't been too strong to where I felt confident enough to play him. Consider Dre too, but I just think there's better spots than him. So as of now, I'm not doing anything with this team. But of course, if Curry gets rolled out, then I'll revisit.
Yeah, if Curry gets rolled out, then we can be excited about playing Kuminga and Green and these guys. And this is a no-brainer. Just because of the total, I wanted to take a shot here. Butler's ownership is going up a bit. He's been burning people, which I think should keep his ownership in check. I put an 8% min on him. I thought about making him a leverage play, but just given his price tag, I couldn't make it make sense. So I put an 8% min on him. Just give me a little bit of an edge there. And that's just the only shot I'm taking here. But again, keep a close eye out on the news. That will change everything. Then we have the Pelicans on the slate again. We have them going up against Golden State, which is never an ideal matchup, but just given all of the guys the Pelicans have out, these guys are still going to pop for you on this slate. Anyone stand out for you in particular, Brandon?
This team, I'm just kind of letting the DS dictate what I get. The only manual change I made was I lowered Hawkins just a bit. He was showing up as a core play. He's another guy who when he's chalk, he doesn't show up. He hasn't been too great. So 4,500, I wanted to be closer to field weight, which, right there at 26%. And then everybody else, again, I just kind of let the DS dictate. So Misi, I don't mind, but I only have 13%. I kind of wanted a bit more Alvarado, but not surprised at this ownership because, again, I am prioritizing some of these value guards. And then a little bit of Elfrid Payton. That's about it. So I'm not really getting too much of this team, surprisingly.
Yeah. For me, I will just kind of go down exposures, at least currently. I have 50% exposure to Jose Alvarado. Misi showing up in 33% of my lines. I'm okay with that. It's giving me a little bit of exposure over the field. When it comes to playing the Warriors, if anybody, I do prefer playing bigs. And so it is a relatively soft matchup for him here. So I'm comfortable being over the field to him. Hawkins, I'm at 27% exposure. So close to field weight, a little bit of an edge there. And then Jeremiah Robinson Earl showing up in like 1% of my lines, a little bit of Elf. And then Keon Brooks is showing up in 1% of my lines. 3,100 player, seeing relatively consistent minutes. I would like to be a little bit closer to field weight exposure, closer to 5%, but kind of like you said, I don't care enough about the Pelicans. They can be a little volatile where I'm not going to force exposure to any of these guys here. Let's see. David said, underdog says 50-50 for Giannis to play. They never make it easy for us. We can't just enjoy our Friday night. We have to see if Giannis will play. How do you not know, man? It's 6 o'clock. You're playing in a couple hours. Yep. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. What are we doing with New York players on FanDuel? We'll get there, Benkin. We're almost there literally right now. We have the Knicks going up against the Bucks. I like the Knicks tonight. I like them a bit more if Giannis plays because I think the game will stay closer. But really, no matter what, I'm playing the Knicks. We have Brunson out, Campaign out, McBride out. It's pretty much all that matters here. Who are you forcing exposure to here, Brandon? And just seeing it show up in your lines.
So Tyler Kolek is another guy I boosted up to make a core play. I'm just expecting him to start with Campaign now out. And of course, if he doesn't start, I'll make that adjustment because they do have DeLon Wright, but I don't think he starts over Kolek. So we'll see there. And then I put some mins on their other starters. So 20% men on OG and Cat, 10% men on Bridges, and then 5% on Hart. I say it all the time. Any of these guys can pop off, and they all have like some sneaky upside. Just wanted to make sure I had some exposure in this game environment.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I like the Knicks too. We know the Bucks defense is far from something overly intimidating. I have a 35% min on Cat. He's just been fantastic. We've been playing him. He's not my favorite player to watch, but as long as he's helping us win in GPPs, I'll keep playing him. He'll probably burn us tonight just because I'm going to be significantly over the field again, but in a spot like this, I'm always going to force exposure. I have a 10% min on Josh Hart. He's my leverage play here. He has the second highest usage rate on this team. Again, soft matchup against the Bucks, but he's super low owned. And I don't really know why. I know he's been a little bit less involved. He hasn't had the same upside here recently, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. So I have a 10% min on him. I have a 20% min on OG, just like you. Bridges, I couldn't get to, but I don't disagree. And then Tyler Kolek, I just put a 60% min on him just to kind of force exposure. Whoever the starter is tonight is going to be a core play for me. And if it ends up being right, he's only 200 cheaper in salary. So that's a really easy pivot for us to make if we already have exposure to Kolek. And if you wait to force the Kolek exposure, there's a little bit of risk where you might have so much of the Pistons guards that you don't have as much exposure to late swap to later. So this is one of those spots I wanted to get ahead of early, so I'm not looking silly at the end.
Yep.
And then that's pretty much it for me when it comes to the Knicks. All right, next up we have the Bucks. The big news here is Giannis is questionable 50-50. That dictates a lot of what happens on this slate. I don't know, Brandon. What are you doing here?
I mean, for now, I'm just playing it as if he's in. So as of now, Giannis is a core play. Just due to all the value we have, it's so easy to get to him. So if he ends up being rolled out, then we'll just late swap him and make adjustments. But outside of Giannis, I put a 10% min on KPJ. Hopefully he gets to start again, and he's just been solid the last few games and only 7% owned. So just wanted a little bit of leverage there with majority of the field focusing on that Pistons chalk, as you mentioned. Then I put a 5% min on Lopez and Trent. I don't like this spot as much for Lopez, but with this being like one of the closest projected games on the slate, and with Dame out, Giannis is going to need some help, and Lopez is someone who I think can make a difference here, especially at this price. And then Trent, like mentioned on previous slates, he's just been really solid, playing a ton of minutes, and love his low ownership, so wanted to throw him in the mix as well.
Yeah, per usual, we're looking at things very similarly. One of the nice things about just the timing of the slate is that a lot of the centers that we like on this slate are playing late. Like you have Giannis, Jokic, Kat. They're all playing late in these games. And so if we get the Giannis news, Brooke Lopez is going to get up there in ownership for everybody. And so we'll have a decent way of exposure to him. Kyle Kuzma at that power forward, small forward spot. I wouldn't be nervous about going back to him in this spot if Giannis is out. So we'll have some swap options there. But once again, that guard spot is where we're getting a little weird. And I have a 10% min just like you do on KPJ, just really cheap for the role he has on this team still. And then I have a 10% min on Gary Trent Jr., basically a leverage play at this point, but I just really like his low ownership, decent game environment, especially if Giannis plays, and the minutes he's been seeing here recently. Obviously, he's been a bit volatile. That's why he's low owned, but I like being over the field there. Anyone else you want to touch on here, Brandon?
I didn't mention Kuzma, but only way I get to him is if Giannis gets rolled out.
Yeah. No way am I doing that if he plays. All right. Next up, we have the Suns against the Timberwolves. I didn't look at any of these guys, but I know you're taking your shots. Who are you looking at?
Yep. My usual 10% man on Booker and Durant and moved on. Again, we have all the value in the world. Either one of these guys can put up 60 points, and I just want to have some of them if that happens. You might not need them tonight, but it's just something I do.
Yeah, I hate these two. I'm not going to lie. The Durant play worked out last time around, but I can't in tough matchups. But I get it. Even Dunn, I almost thought about, but I couldn't do it with some of the other plays we have on the slate.
Yep.
On the other side of this game, we have the Timberwolves going up against the Suns. I like this team a bit more. This is a spot where I'm trying to force some exposure to them. They're pretty healthy, so that's why they're not popping too much. Anthony Edwards is one of those players that just kind of cares about weird things. I think he just really likes doing well or playing well against Durant. He pretty consistently performs well against the Suns. So he's a leverage play for me tonight. I didn't put him on the sheet, but he's going to talk about him on the show. I have a 10% min on him, and I'm kind of contemplating doing a 15% min just to kind of, be a little bit extra there, but I'm holding off for now, but I'm close to doing that. I have a 4% min on Julius Randle. Again, the Suns are just a team I like to pick on, so I have a 4% min on him there. Jaden McDaniels was standing out for me a little bit, but we have better plays on the slate. What do you do if Nah? Did he show up for you at all by himself?
He did at first, but he kind of fell off. So I did put a 10% min on him and Conley. They both were popping on the sim model, and I do like this spot for him. So I wanted to make sure I threw them in the mix. And then not quite as high on Edwards as you. He just hasn't really been good lately, but I do like this spot. And like you said, about the KD thing, that's actually his favorite player, so I can actually see him wanting to smash tonight. So wanted to get some exposure there with all the value we have.
I don't care about that with every player, but with some guys who are a little loose in the head a little bit, that's what I'm willing to take a shot on, those type of narratives. But no, I agree with you. I had a like on Nah, and he was just showing up way too much. So I'm going to follow you and put a 10% min on him. No way is that real. Is Harris out?
Tobias Harris out.
Oh, this like it's weirder and weirder. That makes Lazar Thompson close to
a play. Lazar might be a court play now.
Yeah, that's just okay. We'll go back to it. But yeah, I'll have a 10% min on Nah, and then I like the 8% min on Conley. I never trust him too much, but Sim Model did like him, so I'll follow you on that. Next up, we have two not great defenses, but the spread is crazy here at 18.5 points. Highest total game on the slate, though. For the Jazz tonight, we have Lauri Markkanen listed as doubtful, John Collins listed as doubtful. Everyone else has been out for a while. Walker Kessler being questionable. I didn't see any updates on him. Have you seen anything with Kessler?
Not yet.
I think that will dictate a lot of what we do, but are any of these guys standing out for you at this point?
For right now, Sensabaugh is he's just really cheap, seeing over 20 minutes, and he's been playing pretty consistently lately. So I will have some exposure there. Let's see where I'm at. Hopefully he didn't fall. 18%, so I'm slightly over the field. So I'm perfectly fine with that. And then Colin Sexton is another one. He can be a bit volatile, but I don't mind him in this spot. We know we can you can put up points against this Denver defense, and out of the other guards, he's just someone I trust a bit more. And then Filipowski is worth mentioning. He'll be in play for me if Kessler gets ruled out. But that's pretty much it. Just mainly Sensabaugh, and then I'll have some sprinkles on Sexton.
Yeah, if the slate keeps going the way it's looking, late swap will end up changing a good amount of this. But for now, I have an 11% min on Filipowski. Simano liked him a little when I was looking at it. Ownership's not crazy. Matchup is solid. He's a much better play if Kessler gets ruled out. But for now, I'm willing to take a shot on him in the hammer game. And then I have an 11% min on Collier. Again, I like playing guards against the Nuggets. Historically, his minutes have been pretty consistent. Again, you're just taking a lot of shots of these Jazz guys. They're never super trustworthy. And then Bryce is someone who's showing up a good bit by himself in about 20% of my lines. So like you, a little over the field there too. And then we have the Nuggets. Nikola Jokic is probable. Jamal Murray is questionable. Like Mr. Five mentioned, if he's out, like I think Russell Westbrook is one of the best plays we have on the slate. He should be starting in that spot. MPJ is probable. Aaron Gordon's probable. Christian Brown is probable. Great matchup. Tough spread. Who are you looking at, Brandon?
So of course, Jokic, with all his value, is just way too easy to get to him. Even if this game does blow out, like Jokic can still do enough damage here. So he will be a core play. And then I did force in MPJ and Gordon. Those are just two guys I can see popping off in this matchup. I did think about Brown, but didn't get there. And then if Murray does play, I don't hate a shot there, but I'm just focusing on other guard spots.
Yeah. So I did put Jokic started to fall for me the more I started to increase cat exposure. So I put a 40% min on Jokic just to kind of make sure he's showing up the way I need him to. I have a 6% min on Murray. Again, if he gets ruled out, that won't be the case. Ooh, okay, Curry is in. That makes things a lot easier. I'm still going to keep my 8% min on Butler, but that's it. No one else. MPJ, I have a 10% min on. Aaron Gordon, I have an 8% min on. Sim model like them both, and I'm always comfortable playing them in soft matchups. So I'm playing a good amount of the Nuggets. This is a team I want to make sure I have exposure to, but I will be a little careful in single entry, not going too crazy on these guys, just given the widespread here outside of Jokic. And then let's see, we got the Pistons news. Tobias Harris got ruled out randomly. That's 34 minutes at the power forward position that are now available. It doesn't look like we've updated the DS yet, or it looks like yours. Yeah, no, it's not updated yet. But obviously, I'm not going to have a 10% min on Harris. Asar Thompson's going to be a core play for me. I don't really care if he projects like that or not. I can just tell you he's going to be a core play for me. And then the rest, I'll just kind of trust the DS to do a lot more with and see what happens from there. Anyone else kind of stand out for you at this point with the Pistons?
I mean, it's hard to say. It makes some of these bench guys a bit more viable, but it's hard to tell how they'll run them because typically when they have guys out, they kind of rotate these guys. So not feeling too confident there, but I mean, Azar for sure. If you weren't playing them before, I highly recommend that you do now.
Yeah. It's crazy seeing Fontecchio show up a little bit more at the power forward center or power forward spot. He's definitely not going to see too much run tonight, I don't think, but it would be fun if he did make a random start. Let's see. David said Beasley or Hunter, DK GPP. Which way would you lean, Brandon?
I'd say Beasley now with Tobias out.
Yeah. I like Beasley a bit more as well. Before that news, it would have been Hunter. And to be honest, now I only had a 3% min on Hunter, so I'm not going to take it off, but I do want to make sure I see a bit more Beasley in my lines at this point than I did before. But I think that's going to be it, y'all. I'll be back Monday. We'll see who else we can get with us, but Brandon will be back for a couple shows next week as well. But we're getting close towards the end of the season. It's almost playoff time, so don't fall asleep yet. It'll be a good end of the season. Good luck tonight, y'all. Peace out.